Guys, today I have a supersized edition of a recap for you when it comes to the Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'll cover episode 12 and then we will seamlessly go into episode 13, which was the season finale, but some might say it was even the series finale, as we know RHONJ to be. With all that said, definitely subscribe if you haven't already. I cover all things Bravo, Housewives, some good pop culture tea, and if you have subscribed, definitely turn on the notifications. All right, guys, at the top of episode 12, there we go. We see Marge basically strong arming her friends. If that's what friendship is, I don't want to be friends with Marge. But she's basically strong arming her friends when she finds out from Jen Fessler that Teresa is, having some of the girls over and her lawyer so that they could, I guess, I don't know, talk about Marge, give the timeline, a burn session for Marge. And what does Marge do? She starts strong arming her friends. She calls Danielle to, find out if Danielle's going. And Danielle's like, yeah, I'm going to go. Let me just, hear her out. Who else? uh Marge calls Dolores. Dolores is, again, she's Switzerland. She's like, yeah, let me just hear the girl out. It's just, she's gonna have her lawyer there. I don't think it's all about you. Who else? She then strong arms Jen Fessler, who's sitting right there. And in real life, Jen Fessler is like her real friend that she brought onto the show. And right then and there at brunch, Jen Fessler texts Teresa, hi Trey, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to make it to your brunch or whatever, the burn session for Margaret. Now, here's my thing with Margaret. If she has nothing to hide, why not let the girls go over? Why when Jen Fessler said to Margaret, "Hey Margaret, Teresa's having a couple of us over with her lawyer there, and she's gonna expose you." If Margaret really had nothing to hide, she would have been like, okay, ha ha ha, okay, go ahead. Sure, let me know what she exposes me of. Sit in your conviction. If you are not scheming, you have nothing to hide. She just started yelling at Jen. I thought it was so inappropriate, her behavior. And, that like streaky voice, not a fan. Anyways, we see Margaret's true colors trying to strong arm her friends, and she even gets Jen Fessler not to attend, and that's the end of that. Now, in this episode, we had the dueling husbands of New Jersey, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this season, the editing was so weird. Like, we literally did not see certain things that were on the trailer. And then the stuff that we did see, I guess because what was it? They were supposed to go to the Berkshires or wherever the ladies were supposed to go, because that entire trip got canceled. The last couple episodes, it was like, okay, this isn't what we have. Let's just put it together. Like, who really needed to see dueling house husband parties? No, we didn't need to see that. Anyways, we see Bill Aydin and Polly at Louis' party. It was really just Louis showcasing his new studio that I guess he built for Teresa and her podcast. Does Louis have a podcast? I don't know. I will share little nuggets with you guys if I have anything to share or spill. This Transcend t-shirt that Louis is wearing, according to Dana Wilkie, her channel's more like deep dives, like she's a bit of a source, or she gets the source. Like, if you want that sort of content, go, she has good stuff there. If you want to know the nitty gritty, if you don't, if you just want to watch the show, not get into the nitty gritty, that's fine too. Anyways, this t-shirt, according to Dana Wilkie, it's one of his new companies or some sort of a podcasting. I don't know. Basically, if you click on a link on his bio, it'll take you somewhere where it's another lead generation thing. Look, do not click on any links these housewives or their husbands are putting on, their link in bios for Instagram or whatever social platform. It is just to steal your data. It's what Jen Shaw got locked up for. So that's a little bit of tea. Thank you, Dana Wilkie. Now, this was really weird. What kind of guys' night is this? There was no food. I mean, I didn't really see any food. They had drinks, sure. Like the best part of it was Bill singing My Jenny, and I don't know, him just professing his love for Jen Aydin, because this was what, a devotion that Louis wanted all the guys to record so that the ladies could watch it on their trip. I don't know, very weird thing. And then we see Louis' dad like, Louis literally thought, okay, the ladies are gonna go on a trip, and then he's gonna have his moment, him and the guys, whoever recorded their devotions, and then they would play the devotions. He wants the attention to always go back to him. Like, it's a girls' trip. Why does it have to be about you in any way? Like, if I were Louis, I would want to like lay low and not want my name, out there, or any focus or attention on me. Look, these ladies don't have to lift a finger when it comes to Louis. Like, we see what we see on all the legal drama that keeps coming up for this man. I really don't think anyone needs to lift a finger. He's showcasing exactly who he is. And then we see Joe Gorga, his boys' night. Ha ha, John FUDA. He walks in with the PJs, making fun of Louis because Louis wears known as PJs. I don't know. It's all very weird. Anyways, and then we see what's his face, John FUDA, get into some sort of a anaphylactic shock, which was kind of sad to watch. I gotta say, we gotta give it up to Joe Benigno, because when John FUDA was having that allergic reaction and his throat was literally closing up, we got to see men behaving as their true selves. We saw, what's his face, Joe Gorga, laughing, not doing much. Apparently, Joe and Melissa don't know the term anaphylactic. I don't know. I feel like that's a widely used term or word, but anyways, Joe Gorga was taking a piss in the bathroom while the EMT was there. Very Joe Gorga on brand behavior. I found it disgusting. Like, really, this time, this place, with all that going on, your friend practically dying since his throat is closing up, and you need to take a whiz in front of everyone. He's one of those people who always needs the attention on him. It's very obvious. Joe Benigno to the rescue. He's like, no guys, we gotta like call emergency, get them here, get John FUDA checked out. So that's that. And then who else did we see? We saw Evan, and who else was it? Who's Dolores's guy? Frank. And Frank was there, and they were just being like muscle heads off to the side. Now, John FUDA, again, this guy, like, he just wanted to be like, oh, I'm good. I got this. I don't need to go to the hospital. I don't need to get it checked out. Dude, you literally cannot breathe. If there was ever a time to get your ass to the hospital, it would be now. Now, at the end, what I did like about, what do you call it, the Gorga party is they had tons of food. So much food that, Melissa and Joe, they're like, come eat, come join us, come have this, steak, come have this seafood. So I thought that was, quite nice. All right, let's move on to Teresa's big reveal. So she had her lawyer there. Now, I don't understand what kind of lawyer he is. Like, we saw him in a previous episode on a FaceTime call with Teresa with like a baseball hat or something. And I looked at this man and I'm like, what kind of lawyer are you just doing FaceTime calls in the car? And I think I've even like mentioned it in like my previous recap for like a previous episode. Like, my lawyer, it's like, no, I don't know, the people at their office, they set up like a proper Zoom call with you. This is the time. This is very serious. You talk out your matters. It's all done in a proper way. And then we have Jim Leonard, whatever his name is. taking FaceTime calls, showing up to Teresa's house at brunch, talking to the ladies. We even saw Margaret, I think it was in the scene with Jen Fessler, where she basically called out his office in like the middle of nowhere. I don't know for a fact if his office is in like some backyard alley, some back alley or whatever, or if he has his office in a prestigious area of the city. I just think it's very weird that this man has been with Teresa for what? I think he said like 9 years, and he was with her when she went to camp. Now, if you guys watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, when what's her face, Jen Shaw, the feds were looking for her, and in the Sprinter van, the ladies, they were about to whatever trip they were going on, but they were in the Sprinter van. And then Lisa Barlow was freaking out and she was calling like 6 different lawyers. And at that time, we all made fun of Lisa Barlow. Like, Lisa Barlow, why do you have 6 different lawyers? But it makes sense. You don't have one lawyer for everything. Lawyers, they go to school. Yes, they're lawyers, but they specialize in a certain area. Are you a tax lawyer? By the way, tax lawyers, major money there. Are you an ambulance chaser? Are you uh what do you call it, a patent lawyer? Like, what type of lawyer are you? So for James Leonard, does anyone know what type of lawyer he is? Because you can't be a lawyer for everything. That to me makes no sense. So for James Leonard to be Teresa's lawyer for everything, this guy is making so much money off of her. Like, having her as a client alone probably pays for, his living expenses. I don't know, guys. I'm just talking crap, but if you think what I'm thinking, let me know. Chime into the comments below. These are just my thoughts. What do I know? Anyways, who do we see? We see Jackie sitting there. And at one point, I think it was Danielle or Jennifer Aydin, or no, it was actually Teresa, who was like, if you know something, like, like, speak up, whatever. And we all know how this friendship was forged. Really mutual, what is it, like mutual benefits. Jackie just wants to be friends with Teresa to sell her book. All right, Jackie, good for you. We're going to talk more about Jackie in like the real supper stuff. I don't want to talk too much about that now. And Teresa, we saw in a previous episode when it was Dolores, Jennifer Aydin, and Teresa at the spa. And Teresa full out said it like, hey, Jackie, we just need her to like turn on Margaret and like share all the secrets. Jackie is the vault. But anyways, Jackie is there. Jen Aydin is there. Gia's there. Dolores is there. And Danielle, I gotta say, Danielle is one of us. Because, yeah, this is her second season on the show. She's a housewife. But she is still one of us. Like, can you believe it? Can you, like, imagine you're a fly on the wall and you're listening to all this crap that Teresa and her lawyer is saying, and you're just like, okay, like, all right, Teresa, like, what is it that you got to say? Let's hear it out. Guys, Teresa and James Leonard, they say what they got to say, and the result was a big fat nothing burger. All she wanted to say to the ladies was, yes, Margaret is the culprit. The exes and all the footage and this and that being released in regards to Louis, and the case that he has going on with one of the exes. It's all coming out via Margaret. I really just think Teresa's very angry and she needs to place her anger somewhere. And, she has her eyes on Margaret. I understand, rightfully so. Margaret, she hasn't been, great. She's did and done a lot of things to Teresa. And then what do we see? After that womp womp, what is it? Teresa being like, oh, it's Margaret. Dolores looks at her. The other ladies look at her like, okay. Anyways, Teresa, right after that episode aired, she said, we had receipts. That's why I had my lawyer come there to show everyone the proof. They just didn't show it. I also had a timeline of everything, which was also not shown. I mean, Teresa, like in Jersey, I feel like they all talk to people. It's not like a big revelation. Now, what was funny and a bit of a mic drop was right after Teresa shared what she had to share about Margaret. Margaret then sends funeral flowers, and it said, "Dear Teresa and James, sorry for the loss of your dignity. Love, 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 Margaret." That was pretty funny. And I don't care if you're a Margaret fan, a Teresa fan, it doesn't matter. That was like such a classic Housewives move. Was it kind of mean? Yeah, it was. But it was a fun move. Anyways, that's the end of episode 12. I wanted to quickly, cover that, go through that. Let's get into episode 13, which is the season finale. And then we have one more episode with their, I don't know, not a reunion at Reels. So let's get into episode 13. All right, guys. So I mentioned earlier, season 12, episode 12 seamlessly goes into episode 13, and the same day, or it appears to be the same day, Teresa had her brunch breakfast with James Leonard and some of the other girls. Dolores was there in her tracksuit and her velvet tracksuit. She's just like zooming around Jersey, going from house to house, spilling the tea. And Margaret is in her home. Jen Fessler already got there. And Margaret's like, "How was the burn session of Margaret Josephs?" And Dolores starts to spill the tea, like, "No, look, it wasn't really a burn session, da da da." And Dolores is basically asking Margaret and trying to get to the bottom of it. Did Margaret have access or communication with Louis's ex that, Teresa is saying that she did? Margaret at this point is like, "No, I didn't." And then she comes clean, like, "Okay, I did, but at like this timeline." And Dolores was like, "This is weird. So you did at one point, or no, you didn't at one point, but now you do." She just was coming across very fishy. However, that's not the reason why Margaret and Dolores had their blow up in this scene. Guys, seeing Patterson Dolores make an appearance, oof, that was everything. Now, Margaret's like, how she told Dolores to come over for the reunion review, and basically they wanted all their ducks in a row when it came to, having everything ready against Louis. That's what it seems to me. These reunion reviews, Margaret, when she got caught doing it, she made it seem like everyone does it. I mean, sure, do, a couple of the ladies come together, talk it out. I could imagine, let's say, the Real Housewives of Miami, maybe Alexis and, oh my God, what's her friend with the drink always, you know, like some of the closer girls in each of the cast, they probably come together and say like, "Okay, I'm going to bring this up, you bring that up." I don't know. It makes sense, have everything ready so that you're ready to go in a reunion and you don't look like a buffoon sitting there with no receipts or like no comeback, right? And Dolores is like, "I never, you lying, see you next Tuesday, you effing never said that to me." Dolores is calling out Margaret, like, "Girl, you never invited me over for this like reunion review." Dolores is like having it. And you guys keep in mind, it seems like Dolores, I'm going to assume for breakfast, went over to Teresa's. So there she had to sit down. I don't know how long that sit down was for. I don't know if she had anything to eat there. In the morning, not everyone wants to eat, right? Some of us, our appetite kicks in later on. So by the time she gets to Margaret, she's probably like, she needs to eat. She's cranky. She dealt with enough at Teresa's, and now she's at Margaret, and Margaret's telling her a bunch of baloney. And she just like goes in Patterson Dolores mode, which I love. Anyways, here's what I think happened. Again, you guys chime into the comments. I want to hear what you think. I think Margaret, to cover her butt, maybe in passing, in jest, told Dolores, "Hey, come over. I'm having a get together." Okay. Or hey, come over. I'm having a little get together before the reunion or before we all head off to the reunion the next day and we all go off to New York. I think they filmed their reunions in New York. I'm gonna assume that's how Margaret mentioned it to Dolores, maybe like in a phone call or something. Because I do think if it was on text, Margaret would have pulled up the text and been like, on this date at this time, I said to you, Dolores, hey, come over. We're gonna da 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 da. So I'm gonna assume it was in passing and just Margaret was like, hey, gonna have a dinner or whatever. And Dolores is like, nah. Because in the reunion last season, Frank Catania, he also said, yeah, I got the invite from Margaret, but I didn't go. Frank knew what the invite was for. Dolores, had she known of such an invite, I think she would have brought it up, just like Frank. Like, yeah, I also got an invite, but I didn't attend. Anyways, I did think it was interesting that Dolores got, all riled up. And then shortly after, she was like calm, cool, collected. There's rumors that Margaret, she has an arsenal on all these ladies. And does Margaret have some sort of an arsenal when it comes to Dolores? I don't know. But it was interesting. Patterson Dolores came out for, like a hot minute and then back to regular Dolores. And they patched things up, these ladies, they're good girlfriends. It was all happy at the end of it. All right. Now I believe it is the next day or, some other time. I don't know if it's the same day anymore. We could tell right after Trey's Margaret reveal, burn book session, whatever it was, Dolores went over from there straight to from Trey's to Margaret's. However, in Danielle's case, she's in a different outfit. I'm going to assume it's a different day. She goes over to Rachel FUDA's house. Beautiful house, by the way. And Melissa is there. Seeing these three girls together, Melissa to me fits in well with some of these newer girls who are a little bit younger. I'm just saying, if that is the direction Bravo wants to go with a younger cast, Melissa fits in. Now, does it make sense for a storyline? I have no idea, but she fits in. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyways, Danielle's there, Melissa's there at Rachel FUDA's, and then we see this guy, John FUDA. Why is he always there to make an appearance and then be like, okay, I gotta go to work? Okay, just go to work. You don't need to announce it. Just go to work. As Bethany said, go to sleep. Just go to sleep. Well, John FUDA, go to work. Just go to work. You don't need to announce it. But anyways, not John FUDA, Rachel FUDA. By the way, guys, I quite like Rachel FUDA. I really do think if they're gonna go in a new direction with a younger cast and do some sort of a reboot or shakeup or whatever, Rachel FUDA will be part of the mix. I think she's a great find. Anyways, Rachel basically in her confessional gives us a bit of an update as to what happened to John FUDA and that anaphylactic shock and basically his allergies. They tested him for everything and seems like he's not allergic to anything, but it may have been a piece of the bone marrow that got stuck in his esophagus. So that's there. That's that. Good to know. John FUDA, he is well and he is on his way to work. All right, so back to these ladies. Danielle basically runs over to Rachel and Melissa and, basically shares what Teresa and James Leonard shared at that breakfast. And Danielle is basically like, oh, she put the blame on Margaret. And then they kind of talk a little bit about what each of them have to say at the upcoming Last Supper that will be at Rails. Now, Melissa, she gives us a little bit of tea. She basically said, Louis' exes, they will talk to whoever. Since Louis got on the show, since Louis got with Teresa, it seems like Louis has some problematic exes. And Teresa isn't withering away because, I don't know, she's so stressed out. I think it was like Melissa or Yeah, someone said, "Oh, it's Ozempic." Look, is she on Ozempic? And that's the cause. That's the reason why Teresa is withering away. Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it. But for Teresa to be so stressed out, and apparently Teresa was calmer going away to camp than she is in dealing with Louis' legal drama. Um, I think again, these ladies don't have to do much. Margaret and her 275 finstas. Margaret doesn't need to lift a finger. The Gorgas don't need to lift a finger. The FUDAs don't need to lift a finger. I have a soft spot for Teresa, as I think a lot of us Jersey viewers do, who've been watching since day one. Anyways, Melissa is like, look, Louis' exes, they tried to talk to me. They tried to talk to everyone. And then apparently Melissa was, I don't know, at like some restaurant or wherever. And Louis' niece from the first wife goes over to her and basically spills the beans on Louis and basically just says, like, be careful. People are coming out of the woodwork basically saying, be careful, watch out for Louis. They're not coming out and saying, oh, yeah, I went to school with Louis and he was like the class clown. And that's the story we hear from everyone. No, people are coming out of the woodwork and saying, be careful. And then obviously, outside of his past, in the present, we see all these murky business dealings that is landing him in some legal drama. Guys, I'm going to end off this portion of the recap here with Louis and Teresa. And I do have quite a bit to say about Louis. And I'm going to end the Louis portion here. And then in the Last Supper portion, we'll just, talk about the ladies. I feel like I have to take a deep breath. You guys gotta watch Louis' mannerisms and the way he sometimes speaks to Teresa. I don't like it. You have to kind of go back and rewatch it. Like, you have to catch it. And it's better if you have the captions on. It goes by very quick. And I don't know if Teresa is catching it or she is catching it and letting it slide. So, at this point, in episode 13, we see all the ladies with their spouses getting ready for the reunion. They're chatting. Oh, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? What are you going to wear? Whatever. Louis like, how are you going to plan on, doing this? Like, basically, like, what are you going to do at this, like, Last Supper? What's your angle? How are you going into this? Teresa's like, I'm not a strategic person. And Louis is like, I know you're not. Did you guys catch that? Because when I caught that, like when I first watched it, when I watched it again, I got so pissed. And like in that moment, I don't even know Teresa, and I just know her from my TV, obviously. I almost wanted to be like, Teresa, I just want to like shake her and be like, do you not see what's happening here? I think she's still wearing rose colored glasses, like when you have girlfriends and they're with a not so great guy and you kind of like tell them what you're seeing, but you just know they got to get through it. Like, it is what it is. It doesn't matter how many girlfriends say to that friend, like, yo, you got to like watch out for this guy. And they don't listen. Like, remember, Andy said to Teresa, are you going to get a prenup? Get a prenup. Why aren't you getting a prenup? You have 5 days before the wedding. Get a prenup. Teresa didn't. We see her and Louis take some pretty, extravagant trips. Okay, great. If you got it like that, go have fun, enjoy your money, whatever. And Teresa's always coming out and saying, no, he doesn't even touch my money, like his money is, his money, he actually pays for some of it, whatever, right? She's always just defending the guy, 10 fingers, 10 toes down, my man, my man, my man. Girl, if my husband spoke that way to me, I'd be like, what did you just say? You don't think I'm strategic? What, like, what? I think this went right over her head. It was, again, like I said, you have to watch closely. It's one of those like quick scenes that just like happen. And then you're just like, what, what did you just say? I did not like that. That pissed me off. Like, don't speak to Teresa like that. No, like, you're her husband. You should be like, you should be kind of like her cheerleader, like make her feel like good and confident. Anyways, I'm not gonna play the clip, but basically, Louis and Teresa, they're talking, and I do think Louis riles up Teresa even more because he was shit talking about the Gorgas, he was shit talking about Margaret, he was shit talking about the FUDAs, calling FUDA a clown, whatever. It's a lot of negativity. Teresa, I don't know, she's been caught talking to bloggers, Jen Aydin doing some of her bidding. Okay, whatever. But I do think with Louis, it's on a whole other level. And if you see some of the commentary, even a lot of like Teresa stands, even they don't like Louis. At the end of the day, the ladies, they're doing whatever they're doing. Like, I don't care if you're Team Margaret, Team Melissa, Team Trey. By the way, here I'm Team Show. Anyways, Louis a big problem. And I don't know if the network's going to be like, let's just follow Teresa's story. We see how toxic he is, but you know, let's just follow their story. It's going to be ratings hit. So whatever. Anyways, him saying, I know you're not, that that really pissed me off. Anyways, his commentary when it came to Margaret, that was disgusting. Him saying, I hope her effing son suffers the way I suffer. Louis, how are you suffering? It's your exes coming out of the woodwork. What what does Margaret have to do with that? Those exes, they can literally make, I don't know, like an account on Reddit tomorrow and leak whatever he sent to them personally. What does Margaret have to do with that? Now, does Margaret maybe egg them on? Who knows? At the end of the day, those are grown, capable women. Apparently, they are contacting pretty much all the housewives on the show. They're all doing this crap behind the scenes. So it's just interesting that he has all this hate when it comes to Margaret. It just seems like Louis, Teresa, they have this hate and they gotta like put it somewhere, right? And then it's going to Margaret. Rightfully so in some cases, I assume. However, just all this hate and this level of it, it's too much. Now, as of today, dun, 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 breaking news. Louis issued an apology or an update or whatever when it comes to Margaret. I'm going to blow this up a bit. He said, this was literally 4 hours ago as of me filming this. The finale was very tough for me to watch, and I wanted to address it with you all. After watching the finale, I was disappointed in my actions in bringing up Margaret Josephs' son. Okay. Because, Teresa's always like, don't bring up the kids. And when it comes to Gia, who is over 20, Teresa's always like, Gia's a kid. Gia's a kid. Anyways, and Margaret Joseph's son, we also know he's technically a grown adult. But anyways, you don't bring up the kids. The reason he was even brought up was because I have been dealing with being falsely accused of calling Margaret's son at his work, which is simply not true. This is Margaret's reason for her vendetta against Trey and Louis. Apparently, her son was contacted, and Margaret doesn't want her, son to be a part of the show or anything like that. For the last year, Margaret kept putting this narrative out there that I called her son at work, and I have had to deal with it knowing I am being lied on. Okay. I still know better not to bring someone's child up, and it is something I deeply regret. So I do want to apologize and acknowledge that I was wrong. There's been a lot of toxicity on the show that has affected everyone on the show. Oh my God, guys, that is real interesting that he brings up toxicity when he is the one hiring well-known detectives, Bo Dietl, and God knows what else he's done behind the scenes that we don't know of to, get dirt on the other ladies. We have been dealing with a lot of frustrating things behind the scenes, and it has been very hard for our entire family and my children who have been really impacted by all that's happening at the hands of certain people. Two wrongs don't make a right, and I deeply regret saying what I said. Okay, guys, here's the thing. The episode aired on Sunday night. I'm currently filming this on Tuesday, so 2 days after the show aired. He could have issued this apology Sunday night. He could have issued this apology Monday morning. No, he waited. He noticed that the backlash that he got was, pretty severe. And this is just him trying to salvage, I don't know, salvage anything that he can to look half decent. I'm not the biggest fan of Louis. I have a soft spot for Teresa. It doesn't matter if you are Team Teresa, Team Melissa, Team Margaret. I don't care. At the end of the day, I am kind of worried about Teresa. Like I said, him saying this stuff and, just things going over Teresa's head. I don't like it. It makes me very sad for her, but she's gonna, that meme where the girl's like, yep, that's my fan and I'm gonna stick by him. That's what Teresa gives me. Guys, I'm gonna end my Super Side recap here for episode 12 and 13, which kind of seamlessly blended well. And then definitely subscribe, tune in for more. I'll do an in-depth video just on the Last Supper. A lot happened there, a lot of things. You kind of have to replay it, rewatch. Also, a little bit of tea. I don't know if it's tea, guys, but it's something that I noticed for international audiences for this show that was sold to international networks. The show was only 1 hour long, so I don't know, like 42, 44 minutes. However, on Bravo Network, and I guess now on Peacock, and on Hey You, the show is like the 1 hour, 15 minutes with commercials. And some of the stuff when it came to Danielle and Nate, all of that was taken out for some of the international audiences. All I'm going to say is whether you watch the 1 hour version with commercials or the supersized 1 hour 15 with commercials, for the last episode. It was choppy. I did not like the editing. It was very, very off. Anyways, with that said, subscribe if you haven't already. Next video on Real Housewives of New Jersey, I'm going to cover the Last Supper. I will catch you all later.